All right, today we are jumping right in to Genesis 9. Now, this is a chapter that's basically a giant reset button for the entire world. It's the story of what happens right after the Great Flood, when the slate is wiped completely clean. It literally sets the stage for everything that comes next for humanity. So just try to picture this scene, right? You've got Noah, his family, all the animals, and they're stepping out of the ark into this just completely silent, empty world. The ultimate reset button has just been slammed, and the question hanging in the air is a huge one. After the world as they knew it was completely gone, what in the world was supposed to happen next? And for this whole breakdown, we're going straight to the source. What you're looking at is the complete text of Genesis chapter 9. Everything we're about to talk about, it comes directly from these verses. So let's walk through it, piece by piece, and really try to get a handle on the rules, the promises, and the conflicts that shaped this brand new beginning. Okay, so first up, a new world, new rules. This part of the story is all about the new instructions given to the survivors. And this isn't just about, rebuilding a few things. It's about establishing a whole new order for life on Earth. So the first thing God tells Noah and his family is a powerful echo of the very beginning, of the command given to Adam. It's that same fundamental mission: be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. It's like humanity is being handed its core purpose all over again, a fresh start. And this is where things get really interesting. The whole relationship between God, people, and animals, it's completely redefined. For starters, a huge shift from the pre-flood world. Fear is now part of the dynamic between humans and animals. And, for the very first time, people are officially allowed to eat meat. But, and this is a big but, it comes with a super critical rule. You can't consume the lifeblood. And maybe most importantly, the text lays down a foundational law for all of society: justice for murder. And the reason for it is profound. It's all rooted in the idea that every single human is made in the image of God. All right, so after setting up the new rules for life, the story moves on to something even bigger. We're talking about a divine promise, a covenant that was meant to give security to every single generation from here on out. Okay, before we go any further, let's make sure we're on the same page with this word covenant. This is not just some simple agreement, In this context, it's a sacred, super binding promise, and it's initiated by God, not just with people, but with every living creature on the entire planet. And right here in verse 11, we get to the very heart of that promise. It says, "I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off anymore by the waters of a flood." Wow. I mean, that's an unconditional guarantee. Never again will a global flood wipe out all life. It's really the foundational promise of stability for this whole new world. So a promise like that is great, but how would anyone remember it? Well, God sets up a physical, visible sign for everyone to see: the rainbow. It's described as the bow in the cloud, and it's meant to be this constant token of that unbreakable covenant. What's really fascinating is the text even suggests it serves as a reminder for God too, which really seals the deal for all time. But now, the story takes a really sharp turn. We go from the absolute heights of this divine promise right down to a very human moment of failure and family drama that is going to have some serious consequences. So life after the flood is starting to feel normal again. Noah, the hero who saved the world, he becomes a farmer. He plants a vineyard, which is this great symbol of new growth and a return to civilization. But, and here's the irony, this symbol of new life is about to become the source of his family's first major crisis. Okay, so let's walk through what happened step by step. First, Noah drinks some of the wine from his new vineyard and gets drunk. He ends up passed out, completely uncovered inside his tent. Then his son Ham comes in, sees him like that, and what does he do? Instead of helping, he goes outside and tells his two brothers all about it. Now, Shem and Japheth, their reaction is the total opposite. They grab a garment, and in this really deliberate act of respect, they walk in backward to cover their father up, making sure they don't see him in that vulnerable state. And this really gets to the core of the conflict. You have these two totally different responses to a parent's moment of weakness. On one side, you've got Ham. His action is all about disrespect, maybe even mockery. He exposes his father's shame. But then you have Shem and Japheth, who act with honor. They go out of their way to protect their father's dignity. And this fundamental contrast in how they acted, well, that's what's going to drive everything that happens next. And now, we get to the fallout.
a father's curse. The actions of these sons in this one single incident, they lead to this incredibly powerful proclamation from Noah, one that the story presents as shaping the future for all of their descendants.
So, when Noah finally wakes up, the text says he knew what his younger son had done unto him. And his response, it's not just an angry dad yelling. In the context of this story, his words are treated as these massive prophetic declarations that are literally going to shape the future.
So here's the breakdown of who gets cursed and who gets blessed. And it's really interesting. Noah doesn't curse Ham directly. Instead, he curses Ham's son, Canaan, and proclaims this future of servitude for his entire line. But then in total contrast, Shem is blessed, and his lineage is tied directly to God. And Japheth, he's promised that he'll be enlarged and have a close relationship with Shem's people. It's this one moment that basically sets up a whole hierarchy and a perceived destiny for all the nations that are going to come from these three sons.
And after all that family drama, the chapter closes out Noah's personal story with one simple but pretty staggering number: 950. That's how long he lived. 350 of those years were after the flood, so he lived long enough to see the world really start to fill up again with his own descendant. So what do we take away from Genesis 9? We're left with a world that's been reborn, a divine promise sealed by a rainbow, and a family conflict whose consequences are said to ripple out for generations. And it leaves us with this one really fascinating question to think about. How can one family's story, one private moment of respect versus disrespect, end up becoming the blueprint for the perceived destiny of entire nations?